G'day and welcome to Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by my partner in crime, Algared, and our special guest is Sandi Gardner. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
I think we can call you the Queen of Star Citizen, the Master of Marketing. I don't know. What would you call yourself if you had to give yourself a title in regards to Star Citizen?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. That's a
The mother of
Based
Star
on what you were
Citizen.
just saying about it, Star Citizen being your third child, you must be the mother of Star Citizen.
I was just saying that before the show. Yeah, so yes, I agree with that one, Algared. So yeah. We're basically going to talk to Sandi today about the whole beginning of Star Citizen, where it came from, and just get her to give the whole story. And yeah, we thought that'd be kind of cool because there's a lot of people that haven't really heard from you in a long time since you kind of stepped back from CIG. So we thought that would be a good place to start. So
and there's lots of people who have joined the game even since that time, so they have no idea who you are.
Yeah.
And then there are people like me who joined 2014, so I kind of got to know you, but I still don't know the real early stuff. So yeah, at least not from your mouth.
So maybe give us just a little bit of background, like who are you and what's your title, Star Citizen, a bit of your background, where you're from, things like just real basic things.
Sure. So my name is Sandi Gardner, but I changed it to Sandi Roberts when I married Chris Roberts, who is the creator of Star Citizen. I am from Australia, was born in Adelaide, and
Woo-hoo.
I have always had a love for marketing, just marketing anything and everything. So real estate, fashion, all kinds of, to me, marketing is marketing. It's connecting to people. Yep, go ahead.
I'd heard that early on you actually were involved in marketing for Fashion Week in Australia or in South Australia or places like that. Is that actually true, or is that just an urban myth?
No, I did have a swimwear label. It was called Fish Designs. It was like two-piece swimwear. And my partner, she's still in fashion. I think she does Australian Fashion Week and Paris and New York and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of my girlfriends from Australia stayed in fashion.
I got a quick question then. Is there any Australian mannerisms or slang or anything that has rubbed off on the family that you can say that is carried over? That I don't know. I'm just curious.
I think it's the Tim Tams.
Yeah,
and
it's a big one.
And I think nobody takes themselves too seriously in the house. Although my little one, she doesn't like jokes very much. She doesn't find anything very funny. My older one can take a joke, and Chris can take a joke, but I can too. But my little one just gets very offended.
Maybe he gets everyone piling on. I don't know.
So the other question about that is, you've got the Tim Tams, which everyone likes, but the Maltesers, they're your private stash.
Oh yeah, those are good too. But don't they aren't those from England? Australian,
I think they originally are from England, but Algared's actually from England, so that's probably why he thinks they're Australian, because his parents are actually English. So yeah.
Anyway, you were saying more about your background, so we went all onto that tangent.
Marketing, I think, is marketing. You can market anything. It's the same principles and the same concepts apply. Connecting to the audience. And even though I don't have a very big background in gaming per se, I am married to a very big gamer. And so I understand how he thinks and what he likes, what he doesn't like in games, because every video game is in our house. He tries all of them.
So I think I'll go a bit further back to the beginning, but as we come through there, I'd like you to share where you pulled in what you know about marketing into that. But can we go right back to the start and literally like the day Chris said to you, I've got this idea or I've got this game that I want to make? Like, how did that happen? How did he say to you, I want to do this?
Um, it was actually a bit of a gradual process until he actually started making the prototype. So that was about, I mean, when I really knew about it was in the start of 2012.
Mm.
Because I kind of let him
Did it
do
have
his
a
own.
Did it have a code name or something, or when did the name come in? Like, when did he go, "Oh, I'm going to call it this"?
Star Traders, it was.
Right.
Our traders.
Um,
So
'cause
that
he
was
was
more
always
as
like pitching. He was always pitching it like you're the Han Solo of the universe. You can trade. You can be a mercenary. You can be a bounty hunter. So that was always the kind of feeling in this big open world.
When did it change to Star Citizen? Like, who came up with that name? Was that him, or it just changed?
I think that was me and him. It was like the night before or 2 nights before.
Last minute.
It was last minute. We had no name for the game until literally last minute. We were going around with like Ortwin and Turbulent and Ben Lesnick, and we were just like, oh my gosh, what are we going to call this thing? Oh, Dave Haddock as well. We're like, what ideas do you have? And we had some really bad ones thrown out there. And then Chris and I both liked Star Citizen. I think in the beginning, what was really special was Chris and I were always on the same page. That made marketing Star Citizen in the beginning easy for me to have your partner be on the same page.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, did Squadron 42 come first or Star Citizen? So the single player or the multiplayer?
No, the multiplayer came first. Yeah. But
Okay.
he always wanted the single player within that world.
Yep.
So, but I think in his brain, the actual excitement of what I saw was Star Citizen, him programming Star Citizen. And I remember we were having lunch and he was like, I can feel it. I think this has really got this game. It's the game I've always wanted to make. And I was pretty, okay, great. I wasn't too involved at that point, but I did, when he pitched it to me, I was like, yeah, that does sound really cool. I'd like to play that.
so there was never a moment where he said, honey, I'm no longer producing films, I'm going to do this game, and it was like, oh crap, what's happening here? It was never like, it was just kind of grew, didn't it?
It just sort of slowly grew. He hadn't been doing movies for about, I want to say 2 or 3 years, but he hadn't actually started programming Star Traders. He was doing a different deal of video games, and it evolved into that. There was a whole point where he was going to go with EA and sort of be more like a, I guess, developer for hire rather than do his own thing.
Yeah.
I do remember kicking him in the pants a little bit because, I just had two children. They were small at the time. And I'm like, no, you're not going to work for EA. That's not happening. I said, and he pitched Star Traders. And I said, right, we're going to do this ourselves. If it sucks, then you can go and work for EA.
Yeah.
But let's.
So you really were the person that kind of pushed him into the Kickstarter and stuff like that, or like was that separate to Kickstarter?
I think it was. Well, I wanted to be on our own platform, and Chris also wanted to be on our own platform. We just weren't sure. Back then, going outside of Kickstarter was a bit risky.
I could imagine even going outside of a publisher, because I'd say a publisher would have been a safety net, wouldn't it? It was kind of, you get them on board and you're going to have the game published and other stuff. But if you're doing it yourself, you go indie, it's a bit more of a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it was all. Chris had been following Double Fine when they did a Kickstarter. I think they raised like 4 million. He'd also been following Minecraft, and he'd just been following the movement of video games doing Kickstarter and getting funded that way. And also Brian Fargo, did one. So there was a movement of people doing it. And I kind of reluctantly came on board. I always thought it was a really good idea, but I did have 2 small children under the age of 2 at the time.
I'm not
And
gonna. I just want to show something real quick. I'm not going to show this on video, but can you see that?
uh-huh.
That's my original Kickstarter pledge, and it's still
wow.
still haven't received it.
Wait,
anyway.
what?
Well, they actually ask you if you've actually received it, and you're meant to tick this thing called you've received it, and I don't know. I don't know if I've received it or not because the game's not released, so I just haven't ticked it ever. So I've just got it there, sitting there since way back when.
He's doing that, you know, complaining about his Kickstarter. That's what he's really doing.
Hilarious.
It's all good.
It's interesting. You were saying that you had the 2 small children, because I was saying Execute. One of the things I could imagine early on, when you know, if Chris said, "Hey, honey, I've got this new game," you were like, "Hey," you know, I could imagine that concern factor of, "Hey, we've got this young family. We've got to make sure we're doing things right." So,
but the other way, Algared, is like, did you know what you're getting yourself in for? Like, if you kind of sit there now, surely you must go, this has got way bigger than I thought it was ever going to get. Like, the record for Kickstarter was 56 mil, and we're about to hit 500. Like, does it kind of blow your mind a bit that it went this big?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I copped a lot of flack for was I didn't understand the development side, and because Chris and I were so like integrated, like the community, it was open development, you know, and so when the community were so upset about delays or whatever, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know I'd never been in like software development. Sure, I'd been in real estate, which takes time, you know, in terms of construction, or fashion can also have delays with manufacturing, but it's nothing like making a video game.
Yeah, game development's almost akin to R&D, and you are always making your best guess, and that's something when me and Algared are talking to people, like a lot of people just don't get, because they're used to, like, you know, that Call of Duty that comes out every year, or they just want their game. They don't want excuses. And yeah, so I can understand all those frustrations along the way that have happened.
Yeah, I think it was hard for me too, because I don't like to promise things that I don't deliver. Like, I will deliver what I say I'm going to deliver. That's kind of how I, you know, it's just who I am. So it's frustrating I don't understand how to make a game. I couldn't make it. I can't program. I can't, you know, in all the other things I've marketed, I know how to call out problems in the manufacturing, or even in real estate, I knew how to call out problems.
I wonder now, was it your idea to sell the ships? Whose idea was that? Because that's like the golden formula, let's be honest, to why this has probably been so successful. Do you know who came up with that?
I don't think we really came up with that per se, because we actually were shocked. We just didn't think of it that everybody wanted all the ships. We like honestly did not think that people would wanted to be a bounty hunter and like all the levels.
A bounty hunter, an explorer, fighter.
I don't know if you know this person, but have you met Algared? He owns all of them. As I know, you know, because he's told me.
Not anymore.
He's told me all the times you've told him not to stop. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's that wasn't. It's hard to describe. It is so all-encompassing, starting a Kickstarter type project that you just can't think of everything, and you make mistakes, and some turn out to be like fortunate, and I think that was the ship one.
Yeah.
And some don't work out so well, and you just keep going.
So Kickstarter ends. So a really common misconception that I think you could probably clear up for people is every time you look at something in the media, they'll go, this game's been in development for 10 years. To your recollection, when do you think development actually really started? Because I know how few people you were the next day after Kickstarter. How long did it really kind of take to get you guys to get the ball rolling, essentially?
I mean, if you call just Chris development, that's one, that's one timeline. If you call a handful of people development for a game as big as Star Citizen, I don't know if that really aligns. I think the actual real alignment of what we're developing today didn't really start until we had the UK office.
Yep. And
because before
what
that,
year was that? Just so for people that are unaware.
It was, I want to say 2015.
Yeah,
I think it was around 2015.
Yeah, so my recollection, I thought it kind of kicked off when Frankfurt came in, and I think they were 2014. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, like around the end, like the end of 2014, the start of 2015.
Yeah, that was my recollection of when UK office came online as well. It's kind of the end of 2014, beginning of 2015.
And I think that was like 300 to 400 people, somewhere in there. So one thing me and Algared often talk about is if you look at a game like Grand Theft Auto, they actually had 1,400 people working on that for 9 years. And that dwarfs what Star Citizen hasn't even hit half. I think we were about halfway on that now. About, would you say 750 earlier? So that's literally halfway of what they've got. So yeah, it's just crazy to think the press don't give this game any slack at all. They seem to like piling on a bit too much for my taste. But yeah.
Well, I think it's also very difficult to run things at the same time. So because for pretty much every other game, you're behind closed doors.
That's true.
So, and we only ever see those games when they go into like the last stage of alpha or beta, don't you? We're seeing it right from the start.
And because you guys are mainly working on Squadron 42, we're literally only seeing the tip of the iceberg. And so when people say it's so slow, but that's because you're kind of almost getting hand-me-downs for Star Citizen. But Squadron 42 is getting closer and closer, and we can see that through things that are happening through the development process. So I don't think Squadron 42 is too far away now. But yeah. So that's like around 2014. When did you? How much you were there? A couple more years after that, weren't you? 2016, 2017. I think you backed away.
Officially ended in May of 2019, but I was less and less there between 2018, 19. I sort of started to peter out my involvement.
Was that your choice, or you just felt I don't know. Was it your choice to back out, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I never thought I would. I had said to Chris, I'll help you out. Because what happened was he took me to the marketing meetings that he was going to hire marketing people to help him. And so I went to the meetings and I was like, this isn't going to work. And I thought to myself, well, if we're going to take this kind of risk, then I'm going to do it. Because if I fail, then I'll just have to be upset with myself, and I can live with that. Yeah. But I can't live with leaving the
And you were in it, essentially what you're saying is you were in it with Chris, like, and I can see that by what you said earlier. So
yeah. And so I thought, okay, I said to him, listen, I'll help you out for 6 months to a year to get this thing funded.
Yep.
So let's see, that was 2012. So I'll help you out for 6 months to a year, and you kind of left in 2019.
That's like 5 years.
Yeah. Well, we interviewed marketing people in 2015 and 14, and it just wasn't. They had no clue what we were doing.
Were they gameplay marketing people, or what type of?
Gamers. They're all from video game background
so
marketing.
Traditional marketing people that didn't get the passion element of it. Okay, that's interesting.
They did not, and the speed. There was a
Mm.
certain sense of speed that I don't think traditional marketing people are used to. Because when you're open to the community 24/7, there's always something going wrong, and it's stressful.
The community always have their pitchforks out, don't they? At some
Yeah,
point.
it's stressful.
So how long did it really take you to find the right people to kind of take over for you, I guess is the word I was used.
Yeah, like 7 years.
And did you know it as soon as he or she walked in the door? Like, and they just got it?
Yeah.
Or did it take
Yeah.
time for that person to know?
Well, no, what really happened was we needed to get the company to a certain level for people to understand what was happening.
Ah, right.
And also for me to have done what I do long enough that people can see what I'm doing. Because there was so much skepticism, even within the company, not so much from Chris, but as the company grew, people were just like, what is she doing? What is what is what is going on? So once we got that more into a cadence where it's traditional, and then you lose like you said, you lose a bit of the heart and passion, which I love the front end, but most staff that you have at the front end of a startup, you don't have at the back end when you're delivering.
Well,
because it's different people.
Yeah, exactly. Like you've lost Ben and stuff like that, and Ben was super passionate, like, and he still is. And we've talked about him a couple of times, haven't we, Algared? Like he was a fan that just embraced the hell out of this game. I assume you still talk and communicate with Ben?
Yeah, he just had his birthday. I mean, we were I would call him, it's 24/7. There's literally no break. There was no break in the beginning. I mean, I remember Christmas Day one time, I just was talking about it in Montreal because it was with John Erskine. And I thought, oh, it's Christmas Day. Nothing's going to happen on Christmas Day. I'm just going to chill. I was like lying back, relaxing, taking a nap. My phone's going off the hook. I like pick up the phone and Jared's like, quick, what's John Erskine's cell phone number? Look at his Twitter. And I guess his 2-year-old toddler had published like a list of backers with some like personal details and stuff and tweeted it. Thank God nobody had seen it. But, we're like, John, what are you, we're like calling him. It's Christmas Day, right? So,
almost impossible to get a hold of people on Christmas Day.
Yeah. But just those kinds of things happening where you're just like, oh my gosh. I remember one time I was doing customer service and I was holding one baby and my other one was crawling around the floor, and I was on the forums, and my Sky, my older daughter, she like typed in some gibberish into the thing. And so then all the backers were trying to figure out what the code, like, and they did this picture of like a bunch of cats like drinking milk, and I'm just like, oh my God, I didn't have the heart to tell them that my daughter got on there and just typed some,
the Sky code. We'll have to remember that one.
Sky code.
Hopefully that's in the doco that comes out. Yeah.
At the Skynet, isn't it?
Or Skynet. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. Yeah.
A Skynet.
So, but yeah, so I thought I was just going to help him out. But then it snowballed and I really got into the community. It was really fun. I mean, I remember saying to Chris, because I said, what games am I going to research? How am I going to connect to this community? What am I going to, because I really wanted it to be about the community and do open development and everything. So I had emailed quite a few games on customer service for help. No response. Cricket. I went to Chris and I said, what's up with video game customer service? I can't get anybody to respond, like for weeks. And he said, oh yeah, it's everybody knows that, customer service in video games sucks. It's worse than AT&T. And I said, well, why doesn't anybody do anything about that? And Chris was like, I don't know what, he just dismissed it because for him, that's how it always is for gamers. So I said to him, no, I really want to create something where the service is more personalized. And I want the gamers to be heard. I want to have a community where we can all talk to each other and they have more access to how a video game's actually made. And I mean, so yeah, in the beginning, Concierge was under the radar.
Who was it?
Basically,
Algared? It was Chelsea and
Chelsea and Alexis.
yeah, Alexis.
Yeah.
It was fun. Those days were really fun.
Yeah. And they were really, really good at it. Like I remember them fondly. So yeah.
A lot of older backers and you know, Batgirl and Execute, myself and others, you know, we look back on those days as those halcyon days, those wonderful days of that real close knit community, and it's a frustration in terms of the community growing so big, isn't it? It's just impossible to keep that same almost family feel, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I remember even on the first Thanksgiving, where I actually gave out my personal email on a live stream at the end. I got 2,000 customer service tickets.
So I'm sorry, I was probably one of those.
Yeah.
It's okay. I answered them all over the Thanksgiving holiday break, but so yeah, Concierge. I said to Chris, I'm gonna do something where people get special service, and my idea for Concierge was that you would eventually have it in game.
Yep.
I
I can tell you now, Algared could talk your brain off about what's it called, Algared? That club?
A Million Mile High Club.
That one.
High Club.
Yeah, he's got so many questions about that. It's not funny. So.
Well, I think players still want the concierge players still want the chairman's club to be open rather than just his door that's shut.
Yes.
But
so they definitely got those locations in game. So that will hopefully definitely become a thing in the end.
Yeah.
And that's been part 1 of our interview with Sandi Roberts. You can look forward to part 2 up there. It'll look like that thumbnail coming out soon. In that one, we talked to her about more generalized Star Citizen questions, where this one was obviously more about the history of Star Citizen.
If you do like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. It really does feed the algorithm, and as most people will know, algorithm is everything on YouTube these days. If you really like what we do, hit us up on Patreon. It does help us keep our content fresh and new equipment. Don't forget, leave a comment in below. We do read every single comment. If you have a question for Sandi about some of the things she's mentioned or talked about, ask the question there. She may come back and answer some of those questions for you. Anyway, on that note, that's been Execute.
He's been Algared, and we'll catch you in
we're
the
out
next
of
one.
here. Take care.